Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a really provocative thought experiment from the work of Dr. Baidya. It's an idea that asks us to totally rethink the foundation of American democracy by proposing a radical fix for one of politics' trickiest problems, gerrymandering.
So, the whole idea we're exploring today hangs on this one big question from the source material. You know, the U.S. Constitution is an incredible piece of work, but it was drafted more than 200 years ago. Is a blueprint designed for a tiny farming nation really the best fit for the huge, high-tech country we live in today?
To really drive this point home, Dr. Baidya brings up this great metaphor, the dead horse theory. The idea is pretty simple, right? If the horse you're riding is dead, you should probably get off. The argument here isn't that our core constitutional values are dead, but that some of the specific mechanics, the nuts and bolts, might be holding us back.
Okay, so let's dig into that idea, a framework that's under pressure. First up, we're going to look at why the source material argues the Constitution might be showing its age in our modern world.
I mean, the gap becomes so obvious when you just look at the raw numbers. Picture it, 1787. You've got about 4 million people, most of them are farmers, and they're all really wary of a powerful central government. Fast forward to today. We're a nation of over 340 million people living in a digital world where one of our biggest fears is that our government is so stuck in gridlock, it can't get anything done. The world has completely changed.
Now, the source points to a few different stress points, things like the Electoral College or how the Senate gives states unequal power. But for this explainer, we're going to zoom in on one of the most famous and controversial problems, partisan gerrymandering.
So what is it exactly? Well, basically, it's when the political party that's in charge of a state gets to draw the election map for Congress, and they can get really surgical with it, drawing these crazy, squiggly districts to do two things: pack their opponent's voters into just a few districts, and then crack their own voters out across many other districts to win a majority of seats, even if they didn't get the majority of votes statewide.
The source puts it in a way that just hits you. Gerrymandering basically flips democracy upside down. It lets politicians pick their voters instead of voters picking their politicians. This pretty much guarantees them a safe seat with very little real competition.
All right, so before we get to the proposed solution for gerrymandering, the source points out that it's all part of this bigger constitutional issue, unequal representation. And to really get a sense of the scale here, just look at the Senate. Now, this isn't gerrymandering, but it shows how our state-based system creates these wild differences in voting power. Wyoming gets 2 senators for about 500,000 people. California also gets 2 senators, but for almost 40 million people. That's the bigger context of unequal power that Dr. Baidya's idea is trying to solve. So, faced with these really deep structural problems, Dr. Baidya puts forward this radical thought experiment. It's a total reimagining of our political map, and it's called the national grid system.
So how would this even work? Well, the logic is actually pretty simple and elegant. Imagine you lay a giant, perfect sheet of graph paper over a map of the United States. Then, a computer program starts in a corner, say the top left, and it just starts adding up the population each little square as it moves along. As soon as it hits a specific population target, bam, it draws a line. That's your new congressional district. And here's the most revolutionary part. Those lines, they don't care about state borders.
And the whole system is built around one single number, 1 million. The goal is to create districts that each have roughly 1 million people. That means every single congressional district in the entire country would represent almost the exact same number of citizens. You'd end up with these fascinating, kind of strange new political territories. So instead of a politician representing Ohio's 4th district, they might represent the Southwest Iowa and Northeast Nebraska district. Your political community would be defined by where you are on this grid, not what state you live in.
So why on earth would we do something so dramatic? Well, the whole point is to build a system that's immune to politics. By using a neutral, math-based algorithm, partisan gerrymandering just disappears. It's gone. It would also achieve a nearly perfect one-person, one-vote standard, creating districts centered on people, not states. And the model even takes that logic a step further, proposing a direct national popular vote for president, too.
It is a really bold vision, but the source material is also extremely realistic about it. You know, a change this massive comes with some incredible potential upsides, but also some truly monumental challenges. Let's just look at them side by side. The good stuff is obvious, right? Gerrymandering is gone for good. Every person's vote for Congress carries the same weight, and you probably see way more competitive elections. But, and this is a huge but, the hurdles are just staggering. The author calls it a constitutional revolution for a reason. It would basically wipe out state-based representation in Congress, which is a core part of our whole system. State identity in Washington would just evaporate, and that rigid grid could slice right through towns or neighborhoods that share a common culture or economy.
And here's the reality check. To make this happen, you'd have to amend the Constitution. And Dr. Baidya points out that given how incredibly hard it is to do that, you need these huge supermajorities in Congress and among the states, a change this big is, let's be honest, practically impossible under our current system. It really is a thought experiment.
So you might be thinking, okay, if it's impossible, what's the point of talking about it? Well, the whole point of a thought experiment like this is to make us take a step back and ask a really fundamental question about what we actually value most in our democracy. And this is the final big question to leave you with. In the 21st century, what's more important? Should we prioritize the historical identity of states, which, remember, was a critical compromise just to get the country started, or should we prioritize the pure mathematical principle of one person, one vote, where every citizen's voice has the exact same weight, no matter where they happen to live? Dr. Baidya's model makes it crystal clear that we probably can't have it all, and that's a debate that goes right to the heart of what American democracy is and what it could become.